Welcome back to History 121. This is Friday's lecture on Christianity in Rome. As I said the last time, we left off talking about relics and especially the importance of relics related to Christ. Theoretically, the only relic related to Christ would be something that he touched, such as the crown of thorns, the cross, or the blood left behind and collected at the time of crucifixion. I believe the blood of Christ might be in the either something used to clean the body after the crucifixion or collected while he was on the cross. However, that's not the only physical relic of Christ. Sometimes we can get relics that are problematic to the faith. The Holy Prepuce is the foreskin of the Christ. This was a relic that appears at some point a couple of hundred years into the existence of the Christian church. If you remember, if you know, Christ is born as a follower of the Jewish faith. In the Jewish tradition, males are circumcised at their birth as a physical sign of their obedience to God following the laws of Abraham. And so there should have been a bit of foreskin left after the procedure. Unfortunately, once one Holy Prepuce comes to attention, we actually end up getting about a dozen different holy foreskins around Europe. And it gets so problematic by, I want to say, the 15th or 16th centuries. The church actually declares that since there are so many holy foreskins and we have no way of authenticating which one is which, none of them are actually going to be recognized as the Holy Prepuce, and they are all stripped of their title as relics. So here we have an example of something associated with the physical body of Christ that is no longer recognized by the church as a holy relic, and it's actually punishable to worship or go on a pilgrimage to visit this relic. One of the reasons relics are important, they give churches items to possess that are related to the faith as a means of consecrating the churches. I believe even today, consecrated Roman Catholic churches have relics of some kind, usually in the altar or in a specially designated spot behind the altar. Originally, though, not every church had them, and you would go on a pilgrimage or a special trip, a special type of travel to go and visit these relics. And by doing this, you expressed your deep belief in the teachings of the church, and you also earned some extra forgiveness of your sins or cleansing of your soul, as we mentioned with the definition of a mystery religion in Lecture 1, as a means to practice your faith. So that's the importance of these relics. They give us a physical reminder of the message of the Bible, and by going on pilgrimages to visit and worship before these relics, you can then earn dispensations in the eyes of the church towards promoting your physical salvation, the salvation of your soul. We do have a question of the divine inspiration of the Bible, and one thing I want to touch on here, I'm not trying to question anybody's beliefs, and I hope no one thinks I'm being derogatory of Christianity or any of the various beliefs in Protestant or Catholic Christianity. I'm just talking about Christianity in a historical context. I am not promoting, nor am I denigrating or making fun of um, Christian beliefs. The Torah makes up the Old Testament. It is the holy scriptures of the Jewish faith, and as an extension or offshoot of Judaism, the early history of Judaism is seen as a history of Christianity. The New Testament is seen as the writings of Jesus or the teachings of Jesus, um, depending on your belief system. Some people believe that these are the direct divine words of God written by man, that man himself was merely the physical tool that wrote down the teachings in the Gospels. Others see that these are divinely inspired, that um, God and Jesus, the Christian God and Jesus, gave the idea to these men to write the Gospels, and gave them the words, but they were physically they were interpreted they were interpreted by the writer and put to paper by divine inspiration. Again, it depends on your faith system, what you believe about this. Ultimately, though, the New Testament will be decided by committee. As I mentioned, there in the years following Christ's death in the first century, there are up to 30 different gospels that are circulating in the Christian world. Ultimately, um, when it comes down to it, the church will ordain a special council to sit and determine which gospels are valid, which gospels are to be ignored or thrown out, and that's how we get the New Testament. Um, is decisions by committee. So, what does all of this have to do with Rome? Finally, in the last half of the final lecture of the week, we get to Rome and Christianity. As I mentioned, I mean, obviously, if you look at the Christian Bible, it mentions the Roman Empire several times. Mary and Joseph are going to Bethlehem to be counted in a Roman census. We see Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor of Judea, plays a role in the New Testament. So we see Rome present in the Gospels. It's not going to be until 307 that we get any official recognition of Christianity by the Roman world. Remember, as I said last time, it's one of a number of mystery religions and smaller faith groups that populate the Roman Empire. Constantine is going to be the Roman emperor who is responsible for making Christianity an official religion in the Roman pantheon and to recognize and endorse Christianity. What's going to happen prior to the Battle of Milvian Bridge in the year 312, Constantine is going to have a series of dreams that will act as precursors to this battle. In some of these visions, he loses badly, and in several of these visions, he is led to victory by Christ or by Christian symbols. And the final dream, just prior to the actual battle itself, Constantine will have a vision of the Chi Rho symbol, the Latinate spelling for the Christ, in the clouds above his army, leading them to victory. He will awake from this vision. He will have his army, which already contains a minority of Christian soldiers in it, to paint the Chi Rho on their armor, on their shields, and on their banners, and his army will be victorious. He swears that since the Christian symbol led him into battle, this means that Christ is a true and real God and a real religion, and he will officially endorse Christianity in 312 as an official religion in the eyes of the Roman Republic. However, it's not an immediate adoption for Christianity as the main religion of the Republic. Here we have coins struck in the immediacy following Constantine's victory that show a mix of pagan symbolism as well as Christian symbolism. We have the Chi Rho on the coin on the left, but we have a pagan god here on the coin on the right. We have a mix of Christian symbolism in this Roman coin itself, struck in 324. So the religion itself is still a minority religion. It's still not an exclusive, only sole religion in the Roman Republic. And in fact, we have a religion divided amongst itself in what it believes. We have people like the Arians, who live in the eastern aspects of the Roman Empire, who question the divinity and nature of Christ. We have Donatists in North Africa who believe that they promote a different belief about, well, Christ was a good teacher, but he wasn't a god. All of this really affects the unity of the faith throughout the empire and threatens eventually the unity of the empire itself. And what we're going to see is the official church in Rome will crack down on these beliefs. At the Council of Nicaea in the year 325, we will see the bishops and leaders of the Christian church in Rome gather together and create the first codified statement of belief about who Christ was and what his importance was in the early church. If you don't follow the Council of Nicaea and their Nicene Creed, you are open to persecution by the official church because of your beliefs. So we have Rome recognizing the church. We have Roman bishops giving us a belief system, an official belief system. We even have the Roman army building basilicas or buildings of a certain type wherever they go. The basilica is almost like a market building. It's a central building in every Roman town. It's where official business is going to take place. The early churches are going to resemble the basilicas in their construction. So we have the building of official structures by Rome. And again, this is the Roman world. We have Constantinople on the Turkish peninsula, but look at all of these different sections of Rome. They all speak different languages. They all are physically different. They are North Africans, Egyptians, Italians, the Brits. Christianity will spread throughout this region. Because Latin is the official language of the empire, Latin will become the official language of the church. No matter where you go within the empire, you will go and hear the exact same church service which is being done, which is going to promote and help spread the belief of Christianity. One of the other things that's going to help, ultimately it's going to lead to the downfall of the Western Roman Empire, but we're going to have a series of barbarian invasions that your book talks more about in detail. This is going to lead to the crumbling of the Western Roman Empire because of pressures from the Huns, the Burgundians, Attila the Hun, the Goths. And finally, in 476 CE, we're going to see Rome itself fall. Constantinople will be the capital of the Eastern Roman Empire here. And ultimately, what we have after the fall of the Roman Empire is a European mainland that is fractured into various kingdoms. We're going to talk more about this next week. The one thing, however, that unifies them, here's an example of the Byzantine Empire, which rises in the east and will be the font of Byzantine Catholicism or the Eastern Orthodox Church. They're going to build the Hagia Sophia, the first great temple to Christianity in Constantinople. we're going to see the unification and survival of the Roman Church in Europe as one of the few remaining items that will maintain its presence in Europe. No matter what kingdom you go to, by and large, all the new European kingdoms will be Christian in their faith, and they will all look to Rome for their spiritual leadership. Why is the Pope still located in Rome, even 1700 years after the fall of Rome? It's because St. Peter, if you follow the Gospels, is made the Bishop of Rome. So St. Peter takes his seat leading the church in Rome, in the Church of Rome, and whoever follows in his place as the Bishop of Rome is the leader of the Christian church. After the Protestant Reformation, which is a little bit past the purview of this class, we'll obviously see some people reject Catholicism and the papacy, but that's why Rome is still the spiritual center of Europe, even though it's no longer the legal center of Europe. So that's why we have Rome and Christianity discussed together. When we get together next week, I'm going to talk more about Charlemagne. I'm going to talk about the rise of Christian, not the rise of Christian Europe. We just talked about the rise of Christian Europe, but I'm going to talk about the rise of the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages, and European countries in that context. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope everybody has a great day, and we'll talk to you again next week.